everybody, and welcome to episode 5 of Pawns and Patrons, which means that we've been doing this for 5 months now, which is kind of awesome. Like, wow. Yeah, right?
We did a show.
Consistency.
Yeah, it feels like simultaneously that it's been not nearly 5 months, and like it's been about 5 years. So, yeah.
Yeah. I saw a good meme that was like, me trying to deal with March coming soon and me trying to deal with last March, and the person's just fighting two things.
Yeah.
Like exactly how I feel.
Yep. Yeah, it also feels like it's been about a year since our last episode.
Yeah.
So I am glad to be here with you four fine people. What have y'all been up to in the last month that's been going on? Anything awesome on your sides? Talk to me.
I can show you something awesome. Give me a
Ooh.
second.
Yes?
Yeah. This is what's awesome in my life.
Look at that blue.
I know. It's ridiculous. This is the best thing. And this thing.
Oh no.
I know.
No.
I know. She also potties outside now. So
Whoa, how grown
really amazing. Yeah.
So this is
that's
what I
my
wonder,
news.
Anna. How does she let you know? Because she's right there. She's sleeping all day. Every time I've ever seen this dog on your desk, does she like raise her hand and be like, "Excuse me, ma'am, it's time"?
Desk time.
She's on a very strict schedule. So she goes out every I think it's every 4 hours ish. So she'll wake up and start kind of like pawing at me or looking at me, and then it's time to go.
What a good
But
communicator.
she knows that this is her job. Like, we get ready in the morning and she runs around and she looks at me like, okay. And then I put her in this bed and she goes to sleep and she's like, this is how I earn my keep. This is how I pay the rent. It's her job.
Well done, pup.
I'm doing a good job.
She is. Look at these toes. Like, ridiculous. Ridiculous.
The beat. The
It's
stretch.
like, show them more, mother.
Anyways, that's my life.
And has she joined you just since last episode?
No, last episode was her first,
Yeah.
I think, because I got her December 1st.
Yeah. But now
But-
we've settled into the routine.
Yes, now she understands this is her job.
Stream life. Yeah.
Yes. She's a stream dog now.
Fantastic. What about
She got her Twitch recap. Like,
Yeah.
Right,
very good. Yeah.
Thanks everyone for watching. Yeah. Who else? What else are you guys up to?
I am putting in Discord pictures of my cat
Yeah,
on
I
a
saw
hike.
Oh, cat
I am in love with these pictures of your cat.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
man,
take
the
him
cat's
on
not bad.
hikes. So we got a travel pack for him. So we'll put him in the backpack, hike up a mountain, and then let him out, and he gets terrified up on the mountain because it's like totally exposed. So he hides in his backpack the whole time. And then when we're ready to go, we're like, come on, Pan. And he just runs down the mountain with us. And he's like, let's go. Gotta get off the mountain. Let's go.
Wow.
And then when he gets tired, we just pick him up and put him back in the pack and carry him the rest of the way. These days, though, he gets down the mountain on his own. Yeah.
Adventure cat.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's my dream.
That's
I
pretty
am
cute.
envious of your backpack situation because I had a backpack dog previously before Niski, and I was like, easy, throw her in the backpack, go on a walk. Took the backpack off my back, she'd thrown up all over the backpack.
Oh,
No.
Motion sick.
A little bouncy.
Oh no.
What about you, Jen?
Amazing. Jen?
Yeah, I just have a gas fireplace with a switch, and my cats go from laying on top of me to laying in front of the fireplace with all their legs in the air. So yeah, they should go on an adventure. They could blow the stink off a little bit.
I don't have a gas fireplace, but I do have a router. And
Oh.
Kintsugi crawls under my desk and plasters herself against the wireless router under my desk.
Wow.
Because it
That's
gets
a
warm.
true stream cat.
Yeah, so that's where she is right now. And about once or twice a day, I'll just accidentally like nudge her not so gently with my foot. And then I'll be like, oh my God, are you okay? And she'll
trying
just
to-
sort of blink up and maybe like, some of us are sleeping.
Yeah.
Oh.
I remember which webcomic had lag kittens, but yeah. any connection interruptions with her on the router?
No, actually, like it's totally fine. I mentioned this to someone, and they mentioned that this is probably actually good for heat dissipation because the router puts out the heat, and then it gets sucked straight into the cat who wants all of the heat, and then it's a big furry radiator that just like dissipates the heat into the air around it. So
Aw.
I'm not sure how true that is, but I'm willing to believe it so that I don't have to disturb her from her comfortable position on top of the router.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the whiskers help with the Wi-Fi signal. I
Yeah.
think they're definitely onto
but
something
it's
there.
like a Wi-Fi extender.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
Jen,
Has
how's
Jira?
your- Yes.
How's Jira? Yeah. Well, I also go into those pet stories too, since it seems to be today's theme. She has a similar behavior about the Wi-Fi extender, except she likes to like sit next to the radiator, but like where her hair is a little bit in it. And I'm really paranoid that somehow she could catch on fire. And I was really annoyed because she spends like 2 hours just sitting next to it because she can't sleep next to it, right? She has to feel the heat like burning her skin. And I'm like, this must not be healthy. I don't know. So I like move her away and she's like, no, leave me next to my heating pad. So
Mother wants me cold. Mother hates me.
Yeah, so I did a terrible thing. I closed the radiator from that. Like I made it way down in that room, and now instead she comes onto me on my lap even more than before, and I'm okay with that.
There you go. It's
Smart
the
play.
subtle art of cat manipulation.
Yeah.
Yep.
I really don't want her to catch on fire.
That would be pretty extreme. So
I don't think it's possible, but
I'm pretty sure, just to reassure you, that radiators in most houses use hot water. I don't think it's possible for water to get hot enough to set things on fire. I think there would be other problems before that. And then second, I'm certain that your cat would not permit herself to catch on fire from sitting next to a hot object. But you know, in the case of
pretty
open flame,
passive.
perhaps different.
like
Look, counterpoint. As a fellow helicopter pet mom, Jen, I totally support you. It's possible, and you have to do everything you can to protect that baby.
I was going to say that I totally support turning the radiator down so that the cat sleeps on you more, because
True.
that is like pro pet parenting strategy.
yeah, it's so
Yes.
nice. Like working from home with her there has been so wonderful. Like
Yes.
if she wasn't there, I don't think I would enjoy it so much. But
Yeah.
like people are like, aren't you tired of working from home? And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I love
Like,
working
I don't have any
from home.
pants on. Why would I be tired?
I hate working during the pandemic. If we could end pandemic, continue work from home, I'd be super happy.
Hmm.
That's the play.
Yep.
Take Steven's advice, world.
Yeah. If everybody would just listen to me, everything would be so much better.
Yeah, let's just do that. Good plan.
Well, friends, y'all want to play some Dungeon Crawl Classics?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. So, last time I thought we were going to get into the fall of the House of Today, but we didn't because we had to go rescue our animals. But fortunately, you discovered that the mass grave you had constructed outside the keep had been overgrown with the vine horrors, and you slaughtered again all of your former companions, including the much maligned Frog Jester. Collected your animals and sailed on your way. I think, if I recall correctly, you beached the ship like some kilometers down the coast from the city grate, and then like trekked your way into the city. And on the walk there, you sort of like realized that you were probably going to have to you're going to need to figure out who your liege lord is now, and B, you're going to owe them taxes. Because that's the way the world works.
Yeah.
So, first things first, we're going to just do a little bit of out of character conversation about which pawn will be what's what's the inverse of liege? Which pawn will be the dependent of which patrons? So let's have a little chat about that. I've put together this page over here, and I've got all of your pawns down at the very bottom. And these 4 represent the houses that each of you own, from Valerie, Queen of the Seven Schools, Anwar, the Sorcerer of the Whispering Cowl, Petrov, the Prophet of Teotihuacan, and Kara. So I think we had a little conversation about this in Discord, that I think it would be best for each pawn to belong to a different patron than the pawn's owner's patron, if that makes sense. So like, don't own your own pawn and your own patron, because there's like a little bit of conflict between pawns and patrons, and it's going to be a lot more interesting to have those scenes happen between 2 players instead of with you talking to yourself over and over. But other than that, I think we can go kind of however we want. I think, there's currently 9 pawns available. So each of you should end up with 2, and one of you will end up with 3. And I was thinking we would just talk about this out of character and see how that goes, and then go from there.
I love it.
Yeah, we should reintroduce our domain characters.
Yeah, absolutely. Anna, why don't you start? Tell us about Anwar.
Anwar is a bit of an enigma, the Sorcerer of the Whispering Cowl. You can't really see anything about this person other than that they are humanoid, at least. They are shrouded, their face is shrouded by a cloak, and everything about them is kind of dark, but you may see a flash of their eyes from underneath the hood. They live in an imposing hall located beneath the city. And
Anna, can I ask like how your hall is decorated? What is the space like?
Well, I built it with the assistance of the best architects, and I am most proud of its pouring waterfalls and fountains, which whisper well.
Wait. You're underneath the city, and you've got pouring waterfalls and fountains. That's awesome.
Yes. Most precious to me in the hall is a scrying crystal, which aids me in my quest to know all and see all.
Wow.
So knowledge is power as far as Anwar is concerned. And if you think a little bit about kind of the network of whispering sparrows in Game of Thrones, that's where Anwar likes to sit, is in the middle of that. So they live with a handful of servants and spend their time studying scrying and divination.
Awesome. Super cool. Do you already, off the top of your head, have like a character that you think you would adopt?
I don't know. Not off the top of my head.
We can go into that a little later after we reintroduce all of the pawns as well. Petrov, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us who you are, what you look like, what your hall is like.
Yeah, so my character is Petrov, the Prophet of Teotihuacan. I can never pronounce it, but it's a real life thing, Teotihuacan. It's the end of the world as we know it, abbreviated. It's a survivalist thing. So Petrov suffered rejection all of their life. They struggled and found solace in reading books, hoping to find the answers there. They learned about magic and divination this way. One night, they had a vision of the end of the world, a world that is burning too close to the sun. Rumor says that this vision burned their skin and blinded their eye. My character is completely filthy, has indeed burned skin and a blind eye. And it is actually something that they are very proud of, because there are very specific rules in the borough, the place where they live, where people that actually come from the outside have to disinfect themselves completely to be clean in order to enter the borough. And if you have to go out of the borough, you have to clean yourself again. But Petrov never leaves it. So he's one of the only people that gets to be dirty, because they don't need to go out of there.
Are there like bathhouses at the entrance to your hall? Awesome.
Yeah, there's a whole cleaning ritual. Everybody has to be fully disinfected if they come in, because you don't want to get the plague down in the borough. That's how you destroy a nation of survivalists.
That's true.
Yeah. That's what my character built the borough with their followers. Their favorite thing about it, and most important, is what they call the stockpile. which is basically anything you need to survive the end of the world as we know it and keep civilization going afterwards, because everybody else is silly for not believing this is about to happen, because obviously it will. They had the vision. And yeah, they're looking for someone worthy to join them in preparing for the end of the world. And our group slogan is, "Who's crazy now?"
That's a fantastic slogan. Valerie, tell us about yourself and your title of the Queen of the Seven Schools.
Well, Valerie is indeed the Queen of the Seven Schools. She has great holdings filled with vineyards, wineries. Her peasants look on her with admiration. She always upholds justice in her lands. She's got a large, sprawling keep with the aforementioned vineyards and wineries. And she always is active on her life quest to marry a spouse whose family has more wealth than hers. And her favorite activity is throwing feasts, which are always on fleek. Like, we've got the decorations set up. We've got the right menu with the right caterer, with the right food from the right places, and we've got entertainment, and everyone is always on point, and everything is always perfectly immaculate, and there's never any problems. And if you dare say there is a problem with my feast or my domain, then we're gonna have a serious problem. It's perfect, always.
Incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What describe your manor or your holdings or your, what's your home base like?
Ooh. Well, as I mentioned before, great tracts of land, large, sturdy walls, bright banners flying in the air. But otherwise, it's on the inside kind of, I wouldn't want to say ordinary, but there's nothing dark or mysterious about it. What you see is sort of what you get. There's no like secret underground lair. There's no like waterfalls or dark rituals or cleanliness that needs to be observed. I mean, of course, we have to be clean. Everyone needs to bathe appropriately, of course. But it's more or less, a normal, ordinary citizenry, normal, ordinary castle. There is my sister, Norcal, who holds her own manor.
Norcal!
And yeah, it's my sister. And we have problems sometimes. We don't always agree on matters of state. She is my younger sister. But sometimes she insinuates that due to some gold found on her property, that she is better off than me. And that's just not really the case, There's no way. I mean, just because there's some gold on her property doesn't mean that somehow she's acquired more wealth in the long run than me. That's just not. Look at my vineyards. How much the gold's in the ground? It's not really your gold, is it?
Liquid gold.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Need I say more? Excellent. I love her. And Kara, tell us about yourself.
Kara Gowler is the youngest and only daughter of the family that has for generations been in charge of the prisons related to this great city. She was raised in a life of wealth and affluence and has never really wanted for anything. And eventually, as she has reached her late teens, the time has come for her parents to prepare her to take over the family business. So they set her up with a small prison of her own, a women's prison, something, manageable that she could really cut her teeth on. And she has really taken this responsibility and run with it. Kara really believes in her idea and her personal conception of rehabilitation, and she sees a rehabilitated person as someone who is happy to approach a day full of work and asks for nothing in return. And that's exactly what she's going to shape her prisoners into. She's kind of set her prison up as like a day camp that probably looks happy to her and looks happy on the outside, but is just somehow even more miserable for the people stuck in her prison. And she's trying to pull off some sort of like happy camp counselor, aren't we all excited to be here vibe that is not really getting a lot of reception.
It's like a toxic positivity camp.
Absolutely.
That is also a prison.
Don't worry, you're having a great day.
Incredible.
I know you're covered in poop and bleeding, but the sun will come out tomorrow.
Wow, that's fantastic. All right, awesome. Then, does anybody so wait. Let's go around one more time around the table and just like really quickly remind us who all of your pawns are. So let's start with Anna. Who are Babs and Fran?
Babs is a drunkard, but she's chill, you know? She's just in it to have a good time, drink some ale, and her occupation is actually something she's a brewer.
Yeah,
So-
if I'm not mistaken, she's a professional drunkard.
Yeah, it's more of an occupational hazard than a choice. But so Babs is just out to kind of have a good time, follow along. I mean, she finds herself here and I don't know, have a drink and see what happens. Fran is an ostler, which means that she's looked after horses, probably at an inn or something. So Fran is very concerned with the well-being of animals, and she's very stoic and pragmatic. So as far as she's concerned, there's no need for jocularity. There's only a need for practical action being taken, and usually that has to do with making sure first animals, then teammates, and then, the world in general are fine.
It sounds like the perfect ranking to me. Awesome.
So it does to Fran too?
Jen, tell us about Redrek, Growlbless, and Stray.
Yeah. So Redre is a freaking mighty warrior. She has done wild things. She didn't even believe she had it in her. She pretended she did, and then it worked. She met the Lord of Chaos, brought the Lord of Chaos to arrive too early onto the earth during a sacred ritual where she pretended to be some kind of preacher that everybody must follow. And then she brought down the Lord of Chaos and took its word, and she's now, I don't know, she is something. She is one mighty lady.
Amazing.
Yeah, strongly recommend. Besides that, we have her poor son Growlbless, who is completely miserable, hopes he never went out to adventure, hated every minute of it, wanted to go home. However, after seeing his mom do such a crazy deed, he actually prayed to the Lord and converted into a chaotic cleric of Bubugbubills. He met a statue of Bubugbubills upon the route, and then realized Bubugbubills knows best, and Mother knows best. So now Growlbless is quite a submissive but willing adventurer that will go into battle for you and heal you. And finally...
As long as Mother says, right?
As long as Mother or Bubugbubills says, it's basically, yeah. And finally, the third one, but nonetheless, we have Strej Duday, the Frog Jester, relative of Frog Duday, sorry. He's a spellsword, a warrior, wizard type character. Strej Duday is a frog. That's really all you need to know. Really. It's it makes it the best character.
that he stands alone.
Yeah.
Part of the
Fantastic.
legendary Duday family.
Yeah. And he sings songs about the Dudays, so yeah.
And Neil, tell us about Sky and Little Jimmy.
Well, little Jimmy is a young boy who has lived long past his expected lifespan. He was expected to die very, very quickly and hasn't. So we're not really sure who he's going to be. He's a thief right now. He's great with a short bow, excellent agility, amazing luck. He's probably going to outlive everyone else, even though he's continually put in positions that a small child ought not to be put.
Is he a thief or a warrior?
Little Jimmy, it says thief, but I think he's a warrior. I think you're
You
right.
made him a warrior because you clicked the warrior button and you entered the mighty deeds in the threat range and established the weapon, etc.
No, you're right. Something had just gotten switched around. He's a warrior.
Cool.
He's a street urchin. That's his occupation. Grew up on the streets, learned to, get into a little bit of trouble here and there. Somehow learned how to fire a bow. Maybe found one lying in the trash one day, or more likely swiped it off of someone who was puking in an alleyway after a long night of drinking, and skedaddled. Sky, on the other hand, is a man who knows what he wants. He's got his objectives in life set out. He's at peace with himself. Everything fits in his world order, which is very basic and simple. You know, he's a surfer dude who needs to do some adventuring on the side, some hunting for money in order to buy the surfboard he's been looking for.
Aww.
See, he needs not only a nice longboard, but he needs a shortboard, and he also needs one of those, I'm forgetting the names, but the beach boards that are just for on the sand when the water rolls in, and I'm forgetting the name on them right now.
Like that you like skim across the water standing on top of?
Yeah, just
I
like
know what
on
you
the
mean.
on the coast. I can't remember their names. Right. Because his last board got broken after like a tube did not work out for him, and he hit the ground and snapped, and you know the leash broke. So now he needs to get a new board, and none of these like wooden ones, which are a little bit too heavy. He wants to get some sort of like not quite metallic board, but something firm and hollow on the inside, so it'll still float. So he's thinking maybe like a hollow metal board, or maybe like a wood board that's got a little bit more flexibility to it, so it's not quite so heavy to haul up and down. He also needs a new supply of sex wax.
Sounds like he's really been thinking a lot about getting back to the waves.
Wait,
Yeah.
what is?
That's a type of
You're just gonna
wax that you
gloss
put
over
on your.
sex wax?
No. It's the
sex wax.
it's the name of a
Surfboard.
wax that you put on your
Sex
surfboard.
wax is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
But it's
surfboard
called-
thing. It's called sex wax. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
For waxing your surfboard.
It's for
so
waxing
that-
Or
your surfboard.
snowboard or skis.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
you can Google that stuff.
Yeah, you can
No,
definitely Google
I'm not getting on
I
a list.
believe
Google
you.
that stuff.
at work. Now,
No.
Rachel, tell us about your characters, Agnes and Dunny Touche.
Yes, we have just the two left. Agnes, traditionally a coward, traditionally a little apprehensive about most, if not all, situations. She's been kind of hanging out towards the back. But as she's hung out and as she's observed things, she's kind of picked up a little magic along the way. So she is a wizard. And she is someone who really keeps to herself, doesn't share a lot of opinions. But you can tell by like the look on her face that like she's got a pretty negative one about everything going on. So nobody really asks her anyway. And then we also have Dinetouche. Dinetouche is a small little street urchin, and she has been pretty gung-ho about the adventures that we've been on so far, and willing to separate from the party and kind of check out her own stuff. And these skills and investigative, I would say natural inclinations have led her to pursue a career as a thief, which, I don't know. I want to say she's taking after the parents that she never met, but that Kara was well aware were bad people. So now she's really just kind of fallen into this assumption of you are who your parents are. And so now we have Lil Dinetouche the thief, and we have Agnes the wizard.
Fantastic. All right. Does anybody have strong opinions about where their pawns end up, or patrons that specifically want to adopt certain pawns? Because if not,
Fran?
then I have a quick suggestion. about how to- yeah.
I have
I have
Fran,
opinions.
Fran wants to know if
Mhm.
animals are welcome in the burrow.
Yes,
safe.
and the burrow was going to reach out to Friend the Horse Lady to take care of said animals that we must save for when the end of the world happens, because we will need them as well.
Fran thinks that this end of the world scenario is totally plausible and probable, and she wholeheartedly wants to join the cause and to be the Ostler of the apocalypse.
Amazing. Would you just go ahead and take Fran and move her over under Petrov the Prophet?
Nice.
Baki?
I love how she was on my list. I was like, Friends the Horse Lady.
Meant to be.
definitely. Yeah, she's gonna take care of the animal. Her little, like, stoic and pragmatic attitude totally works.
Any other strong feelings?
I do not want Strej Duday. We do not allow slimy frogs in our feast unless they're on the dishes. No, thank you. We will eat the
Wow.
frogs, but like, you get them away.
Well, Babs heard there's a huge party at Valerie's,
Mhm.
so she's interested in that.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Babs is an excellent provider of beverages.
The thing is, like, Babs thinks that's fine. I don't know how Valerie's gonna think about Babs as kind of like carousing.
Well, I mean, come on, sister. Everyone knows how to party every now and then. The real conversation is the real difficulty here is, can you hold your conversation? You know, we have enough wallflowers. We need some more social butterflies. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah?
Totally.
Okay.
Social as hell.
Then welcome aboard.
Sweet.
Go ahead and move Babs up into
Nice.
Queen of the Seven Schools.
I have a character with some feelings about where they'd like to go, actually,
Go ahead.
after some reflection. Redra. That's
Yes.
a good one. I think Redra wants to join Rachel's group.
Okay.
Because those prisoners need to learn how to behave. This is not how it's done. They need to follow the order and be happy about a good day's work. And I think Redra would have its best fit there. Obviously, she's not into rhinestone and parties anyway. And the other one's just being secretive and weird. That's not gonna work.
These prisoners just need a stern mother figure.
Yeah, I think they do.
Fantastic. And is Growla Bless going along with Redra?
I think Growla Bless has to.
Go ahead and move Redra and Growla Bless up under Kara. As long as Kara, that sounds like it makes sense to you.
Yeah, Redra is actually exactly the type of person that Kara would love to hire to take care of her prisoners, and would feel confident sending out into the field to recover any escaped prisoners as well. Growla Bless, unfortunately, is going to be relegated to the background, kind of running water and
Latrine
snacks
duty.
Yeah, latrine duty, digging, a lot of digging.
Growla Bless
But he
is
seems
kind
like
of
the type.
into that. Yeah, Growla Bless is into not going out and just staying,
Awesome. Then Jen, go ahead and move Redra and Growla Bless up under Kara. Now, what I was going to say as our method of moving characters around actually fits perfectly in with the changes that we have had, which is to pass one character clockwise and to pass your other character counterclockwise. So that is exactly what Anna has done.
Whoa.
If Jen were to pass Strej clockwise over to Anwar,
I was gonna say Strej feels very strongly about Anwar. Especially after the rejection they suffered from Valerie.
Anwar sees the value in the connections of an old family like the Dudays and welcomes Strej with open arms.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
And yes, the full Duday lineage is at your service.
This is a big win for
Amazing.
Anwar.
And I love how we came full circle because you were the first Duday. So
Yeah.
it's like, it's yours.
Aw, that is good.
Anna has the personal Duday connection.
Yes.
Now, Kara, we've got to distribute Agnes and Donatush, one to
Yes.
Valerie and one to Petrov.
And that is something that they are quite happy to do, because Agnes seems exactly the type to hang back, to listen, and to start picking up these mystical secrets. So she is naturally attracted to Anwar, who has kind of a similar approach, as I understand it.
Oh, I was going to suggest down for Petrov, but Petrov also a magical person.
What?
Oh, Petrov is getting Donatush, because Donatush is also small and dirty, and that's a lot to aspire to.
So Petrov actually preferred Donatush as well. A young thief, straight urchin that can be shaped into a proper survivalist.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Then
Donatush, you are welcome.
Valerie, I think you can assign Little Jimmy and Sky. Let's see what's happened here. Somehow, so we've got to give Little Jimmy and Sky away.
Mm-hmm.
Someone
But
needs to go
then-
to Valerie.
Right, Valerie would end up with only one.
Mm-hmm.
Agnes could go to Valerie if you'd have her. She's kind of a
Ah.
bitch.
She's kind of a bitch?
She's
Then
kind of a
she's
bitch.
absolutely welcome. Are you kidding? Who do you think my inner circle
Running
is?
the hell out of Anwar is like, I didn't like it here anyway.
Oh my god. Talk to
Be
me
gone.
about Annuar because I heard they are like super boring and like totally flat all the way down. You know, like nothing in the front, nothing in the back. Is that true?
You're
Is that like
absolutely
why
right.
the
They turn
big
sideways,
puffly?
they straight disappear.
Oh my god. I thought that's why the ruffles were there, was to like give some form and definition to something that is otherwise like, you know, chalkboard. Okay.
And more hisses at you on your way out.
Little Jimmy is definitely. Oh, no, let's do Sky. Sky understands the value of communing with nature, the mystical powers that come from the world, and Annuar, the Sorceress of the Whispering Cowl, is exactly where he wants to be. Definitely not the prison. That's like such a downer, you know? And also, a lot of women there. It would be weird for him to join like the women's prison movement. He's not all about that, like, you know, the guy there overseeing. There's some like weird power dynamics, and it grosses him out. So he's super into the magical, mystical people over here, and not the weird underground end of the world.
Oh, we
mystical
didn't
people.
want you anyway. For sure. We said
Sky-
no surfer dude. There's no
Sky-
surfing underground.
Yeah.
Sky talks way too much for Anwar, but Anwar sees the usefulness in someone who can, you know, converse and gather knowledge with a friendly outward countenance.
Nice. That's good. And little Jimmy,
Ooh, do we get to fight for little Jimmy?
I think.
The intended distribution here is to go to Kara.
Oh.
But
Oh.
we're kind of in a circumstance where like little Jimmy could go anywhere.
I think.
Follow your heart, Jimmy.
Well, his
Little Jimmy
heart
is
goes
like
to
street urchin thief, right?
Street Urchin Warrior. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
His heart tends towards Petrov, but I think Kara needs some variation, not just Jen's characters. Because little Jimmy, he's got his eyes on Dune Touche, and he doesn't know why yet. You know, she just like is always in his mind, and she's kind of annoying, and he doesn't really like her, but he can't stop thinking about her. So he kind of wants to go over there and like pull her pigtails and kick her around a little bit, just to like, you know, get this feeling out of the way. But at the same time, like, the underground is gross and smelly, and it's just so like happy and positive over at Kara's, and he really didn't get any of that on the street. So it's nice to have someone who is caring and welcoming and warm and loving, and since he's not a member of the prison, it's not like as abusive towards him. So
This is how kids do.
Era hands him a dirty like penny and a shovel and says, "Welcome to the team. So glad to have you."
can I keep this?
Oh, please.
Question.
It's all you'll get. Take care of it.
Can we later recruit someone from someone else's roster?
Oh yeah, of course.
Because Petrov thought that little Jimmy was gonna be understanding that the end of the world is coming, and this whole prison thing is ridiculous, except if they all went underground with us.
Jimmy
Jimmy
is
is also
recruitable.
like shocked that Jimmy would like walk away from her and make a second choice, but it makes him that
I
much more
know.
intriguing to her.
Exactly. I
Oh,
think
he's his own man.
Danitush is gonna have to go recruit little Jimmy.
Amazing. I love it. Okay, perfect. Then with that decision out of the way, so like, you know, fictionally, I think each of you can sort of like think, how does my patron recruit people when they come into town and like are obviously at loose ends, interesting, adventuring heroes that I could scoop up and use for my purposes. Via various means and methods, these people have filtered into your 4 camps. And I think fairly early on in the conversation, each of your patrons makes it clear that they are now the liege lord of these new pawns who have joined them. And as such, those pawns owe taxes. So let's talk about that.
First off, let's talk about your language, because I'm the liege lady of my landings and holdings, okay?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I don't stand
So,
for this stuff. Gotta get my
You'll
titles right.
see in the Roll20 journal section a new folder called Taxation and Cost of Living, including a new handout called Death and Taxes,
I hate it.
which is this. So I'll just read through some information here just so that we're all on the same page. Rules for taxation have lovingly been stolen from and or inspired by the Coins and Scrolls blog. So if you're interested in where this comes from or want to read more about it, there's a blog called Coins and Scrolls, and they have made some awesome writings on how to use taxes in your pen and paper role-playing game. So with that being said, for patrons, Valerie, Kara, Anwar, and Petrov, you are lords, pardon me, and or ladies and or lieges of the realm. You have a god and overlord given right to taxation from everybody who is neither clergy nor noble. Any pawn who is from the third estate being peasantry, the second estate being nobility, and the first estate being clergy, anybody from the third estate owes you 100% of their income. Think of this in terms of like you are a landlord and there are farmers who work your land and they grow your grain. They owe you 100% of that grain. But you know that they need to live, so you're probably going to very generously bequeath some of the income they've generated for you back to them so that they'll live. So consider said farmer. In generosity, you bequeath back enough grain for them to survive for a season so that they can produce more grain for you next season. Listen, you know that your peons are stiffing you, and you probably even have a suspicion about how they're stiffing you. But as long as they keep the cash flowing, and as long as they don't make problems for you, it's mostly okay. But if they make problems for you, such as like obviously displaying more wealth that they should have given you, that means that the overlord is going to find you a problem. Don't make problems for the overlord. For what it's worth, there's a chart that I've got a little bit later we'll get to that ranks all of the nobles in their rankings. You as a patron count as a rank 6 noble, a baron of a small barony. We're going to ignore bookkeeping for patrons, but theoretically your minimum monthly expenses to maintain your title, standing, and operation is 72 gold pieces. If you were a pawn who was a noble, you would be paying 72 gold pieces per month in order to maintain your status. You as patrons have the authority to grant knighthoods, but unfortunately none of you have any free land to give them, so the knights that you create will be rank 1 or 2. Now then, as for pawns, if you are neither clergy nor nobility, you owe your patron taxes, 100% of the value that you produce. If you're in good standing with your patron, they'll probably generously gift you enough in return to survive, but you're a peasant. You're probably expected to either be impoverished or destitute. So it's gonna, like, your patron probably isn't gonna give you more back than that. If you are in fact neither destitute nor impoverished, your patron probably won't be as generous in return. But here's the kicker, right? Everyone cheats, but don't get caught. So how much does survival cost? What does it mean to have enough to survive? There is a chart called the Commoner Cost of Living, which I will now show you. Ta-da! So each month, in order to live at any of these levels, you know, debased, destitute, impoverished, poor, stable, well-off, wealthy, or rich, you need to pay the amount listed in the cost of living column. So for example, if you wanted to live a poor life, then you would need to pay 2 gold pieces for that month. And then you would roll on the commoner life events table with a -1 modifier for your poor lifestyle. So, moving on to clergy, you don't owe money to a feudal lord. You don't owe money to Valerie, Kara, Anwar, or Petrov, and they have no authority to take money from you. That's because your church takes 80% of everything that you earn. You might pay to fix up the roof of the local church or feed the poor or buy clothing for orphans, but like 80% of your money needs to go into like good works for the church of Bugaboo Bills, for example.
Praise him.
Praise him. As for nobility, of which currently none of you are, nobility don't pay tax. Instead, nobles have to pay a minimum amount of coin every month in order to upkeep their current lifestyle. This coin covers like servants, fancy clothes, tithes to various churches that you're in good relations with, repairs, donations, and any like ancestral ransoms that your family line is still paying. And there is a handout for noble upkeep, which I will now show you as well. So, for example, as patrons, you are level 6, a baron or baroness of a small barony, which means that your monthly upkeep is 72 gold. We're not actually going to track upkeep for patrons because you're like plot characters, but whatever. If you
because I was getting stressed about making 72 gold pieces, and that was getting too real.
So the thing about the patrons is that you have a large and functioning operation that is already providing you with about that much money every month, and you're spending about that much money every month. But you want the money that your pawns can give you in order to like do extra things, like give you influence. If a patron bequeaths a knighthood on one of the pawns for some reason, you'll either be a rank 1 or rank 2 noble, a provincial gentleman or gentlewoman, or a bastard with a monthly upkeep of 12 gold pieces, or a rank 2 gentleman or gentlewoman with a 24 monthly upkeep. So what we're going to go through now is first we're going to figure out what strategies, if any, the 9 of you want to employ to avoid taxes. And then we will tax you, and then we will decide your monthly cost of living for this month, and then we will roll on the commoner life events chart, which is here. So, for example, you'll roll 2d6 plus the value from the commoner cost of living chart. So you might roll 2d6 minus 1. If you roll a 6, 7, or 8, you've survived and nothing unusual occurs. If you roll a 9 plus, various good things occur. If you roll a 5 minus, various bad things occur. If you've chosen to be completely debased and spend no money this month, then you always do have a chance to just straight up die of exposure, but probably nobody's going to do that. So that was a lot, but I know that it's going to make easy sense once we start going through it. So to kick it all off, what do y'all think about paying taxes to your patrons' pawns?
Well, starting with Babs, who went to this killer party and really only cares about producing ale. Like, Babs assumes that Valerie probably doesn't want her looking all like lame and impoverished at this great party. So, you know, she's gonna be able to look a little bit better than impoverished, I would say. So, like, you know, she'll just look poor. So she will spend the rest of the money that she doesn't give Valerie on brewing supplies. So she constantly has this supply of ale, but maybe Valerie doesn't necessarily know the exact cost of brewing supplies. Mm-hmm. So she's able to kind of obfuscate how much money she has.
This is Babs, right?
Yeah.
And you have 2 gold pieces?
Oh, I forgot to check how much money I have.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how much money do you have? Now, interestingly, first, most important question, who has the fire ring?
The fire ring?
Yeah, the magical ring of fire.
Isn't it Rachel?
I think Babs has it.
Gave it away. I think Babs has it.
Oh, you're right. I think Babs. Oh, yeah. I think Babs has it.
Well, I don't see it on my treasure list.
Is it friend the horse lady that has it?
So I put I put the strange ring under Anna's folder. So I think that one of your characters has it, Anna.
I feel
but I don't
like
think
Babs
it's on
has
an
it.
Friend? Oh.
I think it was Babs because Babs was hanging out with little Jimmy, and then little Jimmy was like, "I don't want." No, it wasn't Jimmy. Who?
Dunetouche didn't want it anymore.
Dunetouche didn't want it anymore.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah.
And I think that also is what inspired Babs to become a wizard.
Yes, that's
and
right.
Dunetouche, you've got like boils and scabs all over your skin from getting blasted by corruption when you use this.
Aren't they awesome?
Oh wow! And you're with me.
Yeah. What does Petrov think of this?
We're both burned. Oh.
Yeah, Dunetouche looks up at you like as a hero. She's like,
yeah. Yeah, but no, Petrov's okay with that. Petrov thinks that shows promise and endurance and worthiness. Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
So Babs actually has the 12 semi-precious frog fountain stones that are worth 150 gold coins together. So
What the
Babs
hell?
is actually rich.
You mean to say that Anwar is rich? Oh wait, sorry, that Valerie.
Valerie. Well, I mean, but Valerie doesn't know that Babs has those. is the
Are
thing.
you gonna hide them from Valerie?
Well, that's the only money I have. So even like, yeah, she doesn't want to hand over 150 gold coins. So I think what Babs does is she like surreptitiously sells the frog fountain stones in
Okay.
order to gain the 150 gold coins.
Okay, well,
'Cause
so hang on. There's a lot of assumptions there in that sentence.
That's true. You're right.
So you're trying to fence stones that you stole from another lord's lands, and you're hoping to get good value for them. But I think anybody who'd be willing to deal with you probably knows that you'd like to get rid of them for what you can get, as opposed
true.
to having it exposed that you are selling these stones that you
That's
stole.
very true.
Why don't we roll something to see like how much you get for these? I
That's
think
a good idea.
on average, when we're in this kind of situation where you're trying to like offload something surreptitiously, so that like your patron isn't aware, like obviously, probably the base value that you're going to get is 50%. And then like if you roll really well or really poorly, that value could shift up by like 25% up or down.
Okay.
So are you going to liquidate all of them right now, or are you going to sell a portion of them and hide the other portion?
I think that it would be a good idea. Like, how is it? Like 4 stones?
I think it said 8. Let's double check. Babs, you've got 12 semi-precious.
Oh, 12.
Stones.
So Babs thinks that she could easily keep some precious stones on her person because, you know, she carries these like ale barrels.
Yeah.
So she thinks that she could easily kind of put 1 stone in the bottom of an ale barrel and keep it safe. So she's going to keep like 4 and sell the rest. So sell 8.
Cool. So let's see. Let's do some quick math here. I'll pull up this spreadsheet that I've got. So you've got 12 stones for a total value of 150 GP, which means that each stone is worth 150 divided by 12. Each stone is worth 12.5 gold pieces in like full appraised legal transaction value, which means that each stone like on the open market is worth approximately 6 gold 25, which is a lot. Like if we look at the upkeep chart here, the commoner cost of living chart, ta-da! Each stone lets you live for a month well off. So this is like a year's worth of living well.
Then I think maybe, I don't think, I misspoke. I don't think Babs wants to liquidate them all because she doesn't want to have that much gold. She'd rather have the stones kind of
easily hideable.
Yeah, much more easily hideable than that much gold, I think.
Yeah.
So, if it's 6-ish per stone, I guess first I want to get a sense from Valerie, because Valerie agreed that like we don't want anyone looking like impoverished. But does she want people looking poor, or does she want people like does she want it to seem like her patrons are like just stable, you know?
How does that conversation go with you, Valerie?
Look, I don't know exactly how it is you make your money, but when you come to the table, I need you looking your best. And if this is the best you can do, then so be it. And like, hopefully you'll get your shit together a little bit later. Like, I'm not going to judge. We're just like totally welcoming, but like, you know, a little bow would be nice somewhere.
What room of your manor are you having this conversation in, Valerie? What's the environment look like?
Well, I think this is one of the many small little parlors that we have set up. This is the red room. You know, we've got crimson velvet couches, burgundy what do you call them, drapes coming down over these like nice framed windows that are painted sort of a brightish color, serving red wine or brandy in here. Everything's sort of matching the color, and I'll be in I guess I'm not spending my whole day in the red room. My castle's sort of like a gray color. I think Valerie does very well in like aquamarine sleek dresses when she's just like, lounging around. So
I think this conversation is probably the impetus for Babs to sell a stone, because I think Babs like forgot she had the stones and like didn't care, because as long as she had some booze flowing, it was fine. But then when Valerie's like, maybe a bow or something, Babs is like, oh yeah, totally. I don't know, I'll get a bow or something. And she goes like to dress herself up a little bit, and that's when she sells one or two of the stones.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead and give me a D10 plus your luck score, plus your luck modifier.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
Or do you think that you have anything that justifies your ability to haggle?
Well, because she's a brewer, so she has plenty of experience like selling her wares, I would say.
Yeah.
I was thinking like personality or intelligence. Like she would know who to go to for the best thing, and she would know how to like haggle in a charismatic way, I would think. So I would say either intelligence or personality.
Yeah, I'll give you personality.
Okay.
Yep. So, yeah. Oh, wow. Well, very nice. So, Babs is, I think, a little cleverer than she perhaps lets on account of the drink. And you do find. Let's find a name here for someone. Name generator. Yeah. You find a dwarf by the name of Orin. Orin Thrinarv. And so I think you're in. You probably went looking in like the Runnings, which is sort of a very poor, destitute neighborhood, but nevertheless, like has some adjacency to more wealthy parts of town. And after asking around for a little bit, you do manage to find word of Orin Thrinarv, who can sort of like fence whatever you need fenced. And in your conversations with him, just like for some reason he takes a liking to you. Maybe it's the fact that you're a brewer, and so like quickly the two of you set off talking about ale and like the brewing methodologies of like dwarven stout and like various different things. And he just says, you know what, Babs, I'm on level with you. I like you. How many stones are you showing him? Are you just showing him 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, he says, I like you. You said you were going to be in town a little while, right?
I think so.
Could you make this an ongoing deal?
You mean I get
I'm
more
talking,
stones?
you get me more stones like this, because I have buyers that appreciate this kind of craftsmanship.
I think that I could probably make that happen. I could see what I could do.
Yeah, well, okay. Now, I think I can give you 75% of the value of these stones. So for these 2 that you're showing me here, that means that I would give you 18 gold and 6 silver.
I like you too. I'll take it.
Done. He like walks to the back and then like unlocks a door, opens it, pulls it open. It's like a heavily iron banded wood door, like closes it behind him. You hear him lock it. You hear like jangling of keys and coins and stuff like that. And then he comes back out and he's got a pouch that has 18 gold and 6 silver in it. And he hands it to you and he takes the 2 stones off of him. He says, don't you tell anyone about this. My real name isn't Orin, so nobody's gonna know. But you just keep it to yourself. But you keep bringing me stones like that, you hear?
Babs pours, I think she keeps a couple cups on her probably. So she pours him one and her one and she says, "Let's cheers on it."
Yeah, his eyebrows raise and he cheerses you heartily and quaffs his beverage. Now, how much of that 18 gold are you giving over to Valerie?
Well, Valerie wants me to come back looking nice. So part of it, I mean, I don't know if like the cost of nicer clothes is encompassed in the 4 GP cost of living.
No.
Would you say? No. Okay. So I'll probably go spend some money on a nicer outfit because that's really what Valerie wanted. And then like, I guess Valerie could expect me to sell some brew, you know? But I don't think like selling even a barrel of brew would probably be more than like, I don't know, 5 silver pieces. So I'll hand over the 6 silver pieces to Valerie.
Yeah.
And be like, I got a pretty good price for my brew. Thanks for being a dope patron. Also, look at this bow that I'm wearing.
That's much nicer. I am so proud of you for moving up in the world and like actually taking care of yourself. You are going to be a fine person when I am done making you over.
Can't wait. Love a makeover. Thanks, Valerie.
Fantastic.
Make this to me.
I
Agnes,
guess how much does my new scarf cost that I bought? My new bow.
Oh, I mean, I think when you're talking about like a small accent like that, if you want something nice, it's going to be like 5 silver. So, you know, now you've got 17 gold and 5 silver.
Okay.
Yeah.
And should I be tracking the money that my minions give me, my pawns?
Yes, because at certain breakpoints, you will earn an influence. So first of all, really quickly, just to remind you, at the top of this sheet, you gain 1 influence for every successful adventure. So we're about to generate influence for each of these patrons. You gain an additional 1 influence if the pawns turn a significant treasure over to you. So that's like anything that the pawns would feel like this is a significant thing that I'm giving away. You get +1 influence on top if it was your quest that was completed. And I think there's going to be a thing where like every 500 gold, you just like take up another influence. So that's on top of like, if they gave you a treasure that was worth 500 gold, you'd get 1 for getting a significant treasure. And then you'd also get 1 for taking over the 500 gold mark. So keep track. Yeah.
Okay. And that was 6 silver that you turned over?
6 silver.
Yeah.
Long way to
Now-
500 gold.
Now, Valerie, keep an eye on Babs's cost of living, because remember that Babs owes you 100% of what she earned, and you will give her back whatever you think she deserves. So if she looks like she's living well, that's a problem for you.
Yeah. Well, I need her at least to be presentable when she's in court. But like once she's reached the presentable range, we're gonna have to have a talk about finances. But like, appearances first, finances second.
Fair. Agnes, what are you doing about taxes? Actually,
Agnes?
before we get too much into it, we should probably take a break because we've been on air for about an hour. So let's think like patron by patron wise, what each of these clusters of players wants to do about taxes. Maybe during the break, you can take a look at your character sheet and figure out like, shit, how much money do I have to hide to the fact that I have? And then we can get into that when we come back from a 5-minute break.